A Moment with Tyranny podcast. This episode and conversation is powered by Homes with Tyranny. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining A Moment with Tyranny podcast again. I'm so glad that you're able to join us. If you're not following, please subscribe. Follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and please share. We're here every Friday, 12 noon Central Time, A Moment with Tyranny podcast. So we're going to jump right in because it's only a moment that we take. And I'm here with my guest again, and our topic today is going to be setting goals, staying focused, and reaching them. Yeah, so go ahead, Gus. Let's introduce yourself.
This is Marcus Curry, back for my second visit, and just glad to be here. I'm Tierney's little brother.
Tierney's big little brother. So thank you. I have a lot of good people in my family with a lot of wisdom, and so I kind of reach out for these things for feedback and things that we know that we've experienced. So let's just go ahead and jump into the topic, and the topic today is setting goals, staying focused, and reaching them. So Marcus, tell us. I know that you have been an entrepreneur. I'm working on me and my entrepreneuring business, and goals are sometimes very hard. We can sit out there and we set things, or we in our minds we think, oh, this is what I want to do, but we don't really have a blueprint to it. So tell me, or share with the audience, what is it that you do when you set goals, and how do you stay focused, and how do you reach them?
It's a great question. It's a great topic. Let me speak from my personal experience. First of all, I think the biggest issue with most people that I've observed and experiencing it myself, the thing that keeps most people from accomplishing their goals is, number one, being too scattered. And that comes from having too many things they're aiming at one time. There's too many, in other words, there's too many goals they're trying to accomplish simultaneously, and it dilutes their focus.
Mm.
It dilutes my focus. And ultimately you just kind of end up scattered, just kind of running from thing to thing, and ultimately never making any significant progress on any one thing. And so, to me, the solution is to keep it simple. Have one primary goal at a time.
Yeah.
That's when life and the things I've been most successful at. It's been because of that. It's because I've had one goal that I've elevated above all others, and I made that my primary focus. And it was so much so that you could describe it as an obsession. And for me, I don't know that it'll work for everybody. Some people might, but for me, the times that I make the most progress and I experience the most success with something is when I obsess over it, when it becomes all consuming, when I'm all in on a thing, and I just get totally immersed in it. And it's almost like every day, every night, it's the thing that's, whether it's at the forefront of my mind or whether it's running in the background. I'm 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 just always in tune with this thing that I'm aiming at. I can think back to it was about 2008, 2009, which this is 2023, so that's about 15 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy that it's been that long.
Doesn't seem like
But
it's been that long though.
yeah. I had reached the height of my out of shapeness. I had let myself go so bad that it just became yeah, I just had to do something about it. And I decided, you know what? This is my time to make a transformation. And so back in, I think it was about August of 2008, I decided, you know what? I'm about to get in the best shape of my life.
Okay.
And so for the next, I don't know, it might have been 9 months or so, I I had a very regimented gym schedule. I went on a very strict diet, and I didn't let anything sway me from my routine. And I think I got a fitness blog up somewhere. I think it was on Tumblr. So if you go to getfitquick.tumblr.com, you could kind of I documented the whole journey.
Okay.
But I just went through this experience where I just said, you know what, this is what I'm focusing on right now, and I lost a ridiculous amount of weight, and I got into pretty great shape. Simply because that was my main focus at the time. I did it when I got into real estate investing back in 2001 or so. Right now, I'm focused on learning how to trade options
Mm,
and stock trading, and it's like my main focus. It's something that even though I'm working a day job, I'm constantly consumed and trying to learn and trying to focus on that. And so that's kind of been the key for me. It's just to have a single focus and then in a obsession like attachment to that one thing. I'm big on books, and so one book I would recommend along those lines is by Gary Keller, and it's called The One Thing. And I think it'll be life changing for many people just to kind of hear his perspective on this subject. But the synopsis of the book is there's usually one thing that whatever goal, whatever you're trying to accomplish,
mhm,
instead of there's usually one thing within that 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 realm, within that big thing you're trying to accomplish. There's one thing that if you focus on that and you accomplish that, it will make everything else associated with that either easier or unnecessary. And
mm.
he has a way of saying it that I'll probably butcher right now, but he basically asked the question, what is the one thing that if you did it, it would make everything else easier or unnecessary? It's something along those lines. But if you can kind of just train your mind to think in that sense, like what some people call it the 80-20 rule. And,
Mhm,
and the 80-20 rule, if you're not familiar with it, is simply that generally 20% of your efforts produce 80% of your results.
mm.
That if you could just, what are the key things that if I just focus on those things, it will take care of the majority of what I'm trying to accomplish. Um, so that's one thing. Is just go all in.
Yeah.
Decide what it is that you want to do, and just go all in. Because ultimately, goal accomplishment comes down to desire. It's
Yes.
not just something that you kind of want to do. It's not just something that sounds good. It's not just something you saw your friends doing or you saw somebody on TV doing and it looks cool. You got to have a burning desire, like a desire, because every goal comes with all kinds of obstacles, all kind of setbacks, all kind of things that are going to make it difficult. We always go into a situation thinking it's going to be easier than what it really is,
Yeah.
and it's all hard work. No matter what it is, no matter who sold it to you and made it sound like all you got to do is this and that and you'll experience this,
Yeah.
it's always work involved, and there's always friction. And the only way to navigate your way through that is to have a burning desire. You have to want it so bad that there's nothing that's going to slow you down, nothing that's going to cause you to quit, nothing that's going to just get in your way of doing what you set out to do. And
So
so
let
that's
me let
that's
me ask you
go ahead.
this question. So, because I can set goals and I'm all in, like you're talking about weight loss, or we a lot of times we get into that, Marcus, we jump in and we're on fire, we're going, and after a week or 2 weeks, or let's say a month, and we're not seeing the results that we think we can see, and we start kind of getting backing up and not being as on fire as we should be. What can we do to try to keep going and push? And I hear you say focus, stay all in, go, go, go. But there's some people that hit that roadblock sometimes, and they start doubting themselves, I guess. I don't know what kind of encouragement is there to keep going.
A few things off the top of my head. Number one is you have to go into it expecting those things to occur.
Mm,
Like don't be blindsided by the discouragement. Don't be blindsided by the obstacles. Don't be blindsided by the days where you just don't feel it.
yeah.
You have to go into it knowing that some days I'm not going to feel it, but I'm making a decision on the front end that no matter how I feel, this is what I'm committed to.
Yes.
Period. Like it doesn't matter. And if you go into it with that mindset, when those days show up, when those obstacles show up, when that feeling of I really don't want to do it today.
Yeah.
You will have already kind of prepared yourself mentally and emotionally, and it's almost like, hey, I knew this was going to show up, and this is what I had prepared in advance for when this moment happened. And so it's like you're already you already have a solution to that problem before it shows up, and that just comes with experience.
Hmm.
You just got to know that, look, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Another thing is, find sources of inspiration. Find stories of people that have accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. Find stories of people who you would look at and say, you know what, they have less than what I have in terms of resources and ability.
Hmm.
But look what they did in spite of them having less than what I have to work with. And if they were able to do it, why in the world can't I do it? And use that as a source of inspiration and motivation. Um, Another thing is, a lot of times we'll jump into a goal and we really don't have a plan. Like, we really don't have a plan of action. So I think that that goes back to just kind of the prep. Um, like map it out, and you won't know everything you need to do to accomplish the goal a lot of times,
Hmm.
but you'll be able to kind of plan out the next, 1, 2, or 3 steps.
Yeah.
And along with that, make the steps simple. Make it easy to take the next step. Some people call it baby steps.
Yeah.
Just really bite-sized tasks and things that you can do just to progress is the key.
Hmm.
You don't have to accomplish it all in one day. Just make small deposits. Those deposits will accumulate over time, and as you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. But you just got to keep taking the next step. And so just map out small, tangible things that you can do every day.
Hmm. Yeah. And are you still here? Uh-oh. I think I lost my guest. Mhm. Mhm. Yes, I think you went away from me. But while you're getting back on, I will try to just kind of fill in there. I can't hear you. But yeah, mapping out things and doing things small is important. And also, I'll say another thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes we need to be able to ask for help, and you know, it's not there. The person's not there, or we're afraid to ask. But come walk with me, come cook with me, come read with me, tell me what it is that you did. Some people will share things and help you to reach your goals. Everybody won't, but it's okay to ask for help too. Are you still here, Marcus?
I'm here. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's my other take on what you were saying. Is the baby steps and everything is, take baby steps, but also don't be afraid to leverage someone or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And let me expound on that just a little bit, because I think that's key. And I think for me, I'm not as social of a person as some. Um, and so it's not always easy for me to reach out to people in real life and kind of ask for their help. But I think when those moments arise, I think that's key. And there's tons of people that have accomplished all kind of amazing things that you would like to accomplish,
Hmm.
and you just don't realize how much they would love to help somebody else from their experience. They would love to mentor somebody. They would love to give back. They would love to share their experience. They would love to help somebody anticipate the roadblocks that are on the path that they're traveling down. And like you said, it just requires you being willing to ask.
Hmm.
But one of the ways I've kind of in the absence of having real life mentors sometimes,
Hmm.
um, I tend to find mentors through books
Yeah.
and other forms like that. Just kind of virtual mentors, like people that I might not ever get to talk to in person, either because I just don't have access to them, or because maybe they're not living anymore. But
Yeah.
they've documented their experience, or somebody's done a documentary on them, or whatever the case.
Yeah.
And use that. There's very few things, if any, that someone has not already done before you.
Yeah.
And why not take advantage of the roadmap that somebody has already laid down? Whether you do it exactly the way they did it, at least build on the experience that they've provided for you. So I think you're right. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to turn to other people and say, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have this all figured out, but I know where I want to go, and I see that you've already made it there.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's absolutely critical.
And with technology and everything how it is now, AI, YouTube, you can go on YouTube and find so much stuff out there, and
Man,
to research and to do things. So yeah, and but yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, on the success part, and the baby steps is so important, because sometimes we run out there and we don't want to do what's in between A to Z. We want to go from A to Z. We don't want B, C, D, E, we want to see it. And if in our world that we live in right now, we're in such a right now, hurry up, get there mode, that we really do miss out on a lot of things, and
yeah,
that's the other thing. We have to be patient as we're growing into our success.
that's it. That's it. I'm experiencing that right now. Like I said, I'm trying to become a full-time options trader,
Mm-hmm.
and patience patience is oh man, it's tough. Like you said, everybody wants to get there immediately, but ultimately, and you said this in the last time I was with you, trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta, once you find a process that has been proven and that you know will work, you just gotta trust the process. And what I mean by that is just do the things each day that the process requires, and trust that if you remain consistent and diligent, that no matter what it looks like today, no matter what the outcome today looks like, that if you remain consistent over time, the process will deliver you to the destination that you're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes patience. It just takes this faith, just this knowing that if I do what I need to do today, and I wake up tomorrow and I do what I need to do tomorrow, that if I do that enough days stacked on top of each other, I'm going to get there. Period.
Yeah.
It. I had some friends, like kind of a mastermind group, a couple of guys I used to meet with years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I was in real estate. And one of the things I remember sharing with them, just this epiphany I had, and it's just this idea that it's like a gardener or a farmer, and the faith it takes to plant a seed. And when you plant a seed in the ground, you have to show up every day and you have to till the soil and provide the fertilizer, and you have to water it. And you show up the next day and you water it again. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, in those beginning stages, you don't see any results. You don't see any there's nothing there's nothing being produced from the effort immediately.
Yeah.
But you have to have the faith to know that, look, if I keep doing this, if I keep showing up, I keep watering, I keep fertilizing, I keep doing the things I need to do, that over time this will indeed produce the fruit that I'm after. And after a gardener or a farmer has experienced that over a time or two, it's a no-brainer from then on. They just trust the process. They
Yeah.
know, even though I'm not getting the results today, even though I show up tomorrow and I don't see anything tomorrow, I show up the next day, I still don't see anything. Eventually, there will be a sprout. Eventually, something's going to come out of the ground. And that's going to be a little bit of inspiration. It's going to be a little bit of motivation for me to keep going.
Yeah.
And ultimately, just keep doing it. Just trust the process,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you will get to where you're trying to go.
And I have a garden, and you are 100% right, because I've gone out there and it's like nothing, but every morning I get out there and I water that ground like it had a whole bunch of green already out there. And then all of a sudden I go out another, like out of the blue overnight. It's like this stuff is sprouted up, and then it starts
Yep.
growing fast. Once it starts to grow so fast. And it's like we cut it down and we harvest it and we clean it and put it in back our greens and everything so good and so but we cut it down and then we go back out there and it's out there again. So you're right, going out
Hold on,
and
you cut out on me. Are you there?
yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. I was saying that, with my garden, that is the things that happens. And with my garden, I actually did those same things and trusted, I was trusting the process. And every year now I have a garden. And it actually took me 3 years before I even got to this point of really having a real harvest of a garden. And I failed a couple of years. It didn't
Yeah.
work. But after I failed and I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying, it's like all of a sudden now my lady that comes and helps me with my garden, she's like, your soil is so rich and it's so good and it's so organic, but it took it a time to get there. And that's what, like you're saying, trust the process. I
Mhm.
get tomatoes. We had like, oh my God, I want to say like 7 cantaloupes that were like 5 to 7 pounds. Um,
Mm.
we have a bunch of greens, tomatoes, so good. Jalapenos. I have a jalapeno tree, not a plant. It was so many jalapenos out there. But you know what? It was come from me being consistent. And you used the word earlier, committed. It came from me being committed to making sure that I did everything I needed to do in order to sow and harvest those things that came out. So that's amazing. So what advice would you give to someone that is starting out, Marcus, that's getting out here and they're like, okay, um, I'm on this journey. I'm looking to set goals because I'm trying to be better at a business, be better at weight loss, be better at any what just to leave them with some pointers on what steps they should take.
Number one, I would say be honest with yourself. Like actually sit down and have this conversation with yourself and ask yourself, do I really want this? Like, am I really committed to doing what it takes to accomplish this? And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay if you're not. It might not be the time for you right now. You might not be in a space where you can give it your all in order to get there. And if that's the case, that's fine. Just go ahead and kind of prepare yourself to be in that place where you can be all in. But you have to be honest with yourself. Am I ready? Am I willing to do what it takes no matter what? Because I'm convinced that that's the state of mind you have to have in order to accomplish anything significant. In order to accomplish anything significant, you have to be in this no matter what, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm not going to let anything get in my way. I'm on a mission and the mission will be accomplished, period. And so that's number one. Number two is look for established, proven roadmaps. Look for people that have already traveled the path that you're about to get on. And if you can access them in person, do whatever you got to do to pick their brains. Do whatever you got to do to have them available to you when you arrive at the obstacles and the setbacks that you're inevitably going to encounter. If you can't meet with somebody in person, like you said, get on YouTube, get on Amazon, find the best resources on the topic, on the subject. Find someone that has done it, that's not just trying to sell you some fluff, but that has a proven method to accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And then number three would be map out a game plan that's made up of very small, very doable baby steps that you can repeat day after day after day. And I would so those are the key things. Is be honest with yourself, try to find an established roadmap and create a plan of action. And then ultimately, no matter how you feel, no matter what it looks like today, just do the thing you've already pre-decided to do and just trust the process. And over time, like I said, you'll get there.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about, you know what, I went out to my garden day after day and there was nothing. And then all of a sudden there was something.
Yeah.
And then once there was something, it kind of just took off. They call that phenomenon the tipping point. And I think I recommended a Malcolm Gladwell book the last time I was on. Another Malcolm Gladwell book is The Tipping Point. And it's just this idea of that there's a point at which stuff that used to be difficult, it hits this point, and then the flow is so strong that you couldn't stop it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what we're after. We're trying to have enough consistency
Yeah.
until we reach that tipping point, and that's the point at which what used to be difficult now becomes easy, and it just flows. And that's the key. You only get there from consistent, diligent, committed effort.
Wow. See, that's amazing. That's amazing. That is a great, all this is great. And so I'm going to end our moment with tyranny with that note. That's really, I mean, that's a lot to take in. And I'm like, yep. And I'm going to go get these books and read. And thank you for that. But everyone knows I got my quote for today. And my quote for this podcast is put your heart, mind, and soul into even your smallest acts. This is the secret of success. So I'll say
Hmm,
it one more time. Put your heart, your mind, and your soul into even the smallest acts. This is the secret of success.
that's
So
it.
yeah. So thank you for joining me with a moment of tyranny, Marcus. I appreciate your wisdom. Everyone, if you haven't subscribed again, hit those buttons, subscribe, follow me, share my podcast, and we will be back with you next week. Every Friday, 12 Central Standard Time. Thank you again. Thank you, Marcus. Love you. I love everyone. And we will talk to you next week.
All right, love you too. Thanks.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.